Hello, I'm Paul.
And I'm Alison.
And welcome to Marriage Marathon Vlog number 9, which must mean, Alison, that we're getting very close to the big event.
We are indeed. We're down to less than 3 weeks now.
So today our theme is a three-legged race. Now, don't worry, we are not going to be running the marathon tied together.
Thank goodness.
However, we have been reflecting, haven't we, Alison, about what it means to run together and how reliant we are on each other in terms of our running, our training together. And for me, it's a bit like a three-legged race. So you are actually dependent not just on how well you're doing yourself, your own performance, but you're actually reliant on the person that you're running with. And because we're so determined, aren't we, just not just to run and train together, but actually to finish the marathon together. We do have to be very aware of how each other is feeling when we're running. So, for example, there are times we've talked about Alison ran out of energy, needed to walk for a bit just to recover. But there are also times, aren't there, where I felt a little bit discouraged and negative, and you've been quite positive in your talk and encouraging and lifting me.
Well, and what was going on for me was flipping heck. You're the better runner here. If you don't think we can do this, we're stuffed. So I'm gonna have to take the reins, if you like, and just lead slightly in the okay, this is tough, but we need to keep our mindsets in the right place, focus on the goal, let's stick to the facts. Yes, this is pretty rubbish at the moment, but that's not the whole picture, so let's get this thing in perspective.
Yeah, and so just a really good example of how we are so reliant on each other in order to make sure that we're staying in step, if you like, and running together. Another thing I think that I'm aware of is that the quicker that you run in terms of pace, I can't push you too much, but actually you're very aware of if the quicker you run, the more comfortable it is for me in terms of my pace and running style. So you've tried really hard to...
Absolutely. So I'm just so mindful that, as I've said, Paul is by far the better runner. I wish my body would go by fast, but it won't. But I just do my best to, within our rhythm and our pace. But it's things like I put a lot of weight on, so I've been working on losing weight. I think I've lost 11 pounds now. I'm hoping to lose a few more before the race. The lighter I am, the better I am going to be able to run. So it's not just even on the training that I'm doing my best to be able to run faster. It's behind the scenes. I'm doing everything I can to make it that I can run as fast as I can go, which is better for you.
And I was really reflecting on that theme of relying on each other, running together, performance together. And I was thinking about how amazing Paralympic athletes are, you know, when they are with a guide and they're literally bound, whether they're skiing or running or cycling. And again, their performance relies so much on each other. And I was thinking about, I guess, in terms of relationships, there's similarities there, isn't there? I mean, it's okay to be individual. Individuality is good, but also it's so important as well to work together in a relationship, isn't it?
It is, and as we were chatting about, what should we talk about this time? As soon as you came up with the idea of this three-legged race, I said, oh my goodness, I love it. There are some real similarities. And whilst I'm relieved we aren't going to be running the marathon with our legs tied together, as bad enough as it is, there are some similarities. And I think the first thing that struck me with it is, in a three-legged race, it's two completely separate and different individuals, and yet if they run the race together, then somehow they've got to make that work. And so in a couple relationship, it really hit home. Yes, it is two completely separate and often, more often than not, very different people that are linked together in a relationship. And I'm just thinking, you may have noticed Paul and I are quite different.
Yes, we are a bit different.
We're a bit chalk and cheese sometimes, aren't we? How are we different, dear? How would you say we were different?
Well, I'm slightly less extrovert than you, I would say, for one.
Absolutely. I think I'm the extrovert, really outgoing one, a bit wacky even. Not that you're not, you're very sociable. You can be very sociable, can't you? It's not that you're not sociable, or you're just not as out there. We're just so different in so many ways, aren't we? So yes, this idea of two very separate, different individuals, and yet there has to be a degree of compatibility. So you could imagine in a three-legged race, if you've got two people who, I don't know, we're arguing, no, we have to run at this pace, no, we have to run at this pace, no, we have to go in this direction, no, we have to go in that direction. You could imagine that if there wasn't a willingness to work together, they'd just fall over in a heap. So that wouldn't work. And similarly, in a couple relationship, there's got to be a degree of compatibility. So in a relationship, that compatibility might look like, although having different personalities, having enough common values. So for example, a big one that I come across is often around honesty. So if for one person honesty is really high on their priorities of qualities, and one is honest most of the time and upfront about things, but the other one's deceptive and doesn't volunteer information and out lies, then that's setting up for arguments and fallouts. So having enough common boundaries, staying within, common values, staying within your own safe boundaries is important. So again, if you've agreed certain ways of how you're going to function and within the relationship, and one sticks to them and one doesn't, again, that's not going to work long term. And the old favourite of effective communication, so that you're able to share what you're feeling and understand each other and get each other. If that's not there enough, then again, over time, that is going to become problematic and set up for a disharmonious union.
And I was thinking in a three-legged race, you know, it's if you like, the kind of direction of travel might be dictated by one partner and then another partner. So it might be one partner says, let's go this way, but it relies on the other partner
to go with them.
It wouldn't be very good if one partner wanted to go one way and another. So I think it's so important that we, within that boundary and those values, the individuality might be that, you know, you allow your partner and you go with them to to go in one particular direction. For example, I've gone to quite a few parties. We've talked about that, fancy dress parties. But there are times when you've kind of accommodated things that I wanted to do. But I think, looking back to the time when we first got together, I think we both recognised that we had similar values, and we talked about our hearts were kind of, although you didn't like my sense of humour at the start, but we did get together largely because we actually had similar values and an outlook on life. So that was the important foundation on which we built our relationship.
Absolutely, the values were what helped us to become compatible. But actually, I hope you're going to agree, you might not. But I think what keeps us quite fresh and exciting even is the difference, isn't it? Because we are so different, and between us we just keep coming up with fun things to do. So you like travel. I've not been able to do much in recent years because of the dreaded C word, but actually we've still managed to do lots of fun things, haven't we? And you've encouraged me to be more adventurous with travel. So for example, when we met, I'd never flown. So between us, that's what keeps our relationship, or it's one of the reasons that keeps our relationship quite fresh and exciting, is the difference.
Yeah, and being aware again of how to surprise somebody in a pleasant way. So, you know, I look for gifts that I know that you would like. For example, your birthday's coming up. We've been on the Strictly Come Dancing weekend, and you know, learning how to dance wasn't something that was on my agenda, but actually I knew that Alison would like to do that. So we went along to our Strictly Come Dancing weekend, met all the stars. I got a pat on the shoulder from
Aliash. Oh, it was wonderful. He corrected his posture once, and then he came back, and we were in the waltz hold, and we'd got our arms in the right position. Yours was up and mine was, and he put his hand on his shoulder and he went, nice. Paul's face was such a treat.
Yeah, good posture.
He'd been Aliashed.
But there are times when our differences, still even after 25 years of marriage, they can be a source of disagreement. We had a discussion just this morning, didn't we, Alison? Because obviously Alison, being more extrovert and outgoing, is highly concerned about looking the part. She's been getting her outfits ready for the marathon. I'm more concerned about how are you going to run 26 miles in that exactly. So, you know, we don't always get on the same page, but somehow...
Well, we nearly fell out this morning over the wedding dress. But we didn't. And we sorted it out, didn't we?
That's different. That's where, you know, you just have to work those things through. And I think we have learnt over the years to do that better. Rather than get into heated arguments, you know, we've learnt how to actually... one, avoid those situations, but two, to step back from them and try to understand what's going on for the other person. And
when we've calmed down.
Yeah. And again, like in a three-legged race, you know, ultimately nobody wins. You know, you both fall over. Let's go. This way.
Well, you both win or you both fall over.
Yeah. So there you go. Anything else you want to say about the three-legged race?
Well, just summing up really, that just remember you are still an individual in a relationship. You're still separate and individual, even though you are linked. You don't stop being you, and it's important to stay compatible, always thinking about what's the other feeling, what's going on for them, reflecting back, checking out with each other, helping each other, and remembering that difference is good. Difference can add variety and fun and excitement, but too much difference where you don't have enough shared values, you don't stay within your own boundaries, and communication is shocking, then that's not good for the relationship.
Yeah. So remember, if you have any questions for our relationship expert, do let us know. And why don't you try a three-legged run with your partner this week?
And send us the pictures and the videos.
See you next time.
Bye.